Hello everybody, and welcome to video where we're going to be going over how I'm talking to you personally, how you can start writing a story in the Isekai genre. Everything I'll be going over can be applied to other genres. I'm just going to focus on that one for this video and do other videos for the other genres later. Okay, so first off, what is Isekai? If you don't know, it's Portal Fantasy but Japanese, basically. That's the quick version. Look it up if you need to. It's got its own genre quirks and whatnot, but that's the quick version. Portal Fantasy, of course, basically it's any kind of fantasy that involves somebody from our world going to another world. That's the very quick version of Portal Fantasy and Isekai. So, I'm picking this genre partially because I understand it pretty well, and I've written a book about, it's a short book, short guide that's on Amazon, the link in the description, about this entire process, 15 steps from start to finish, your initial idea to editing, how you can write an isekai story. This video is going to focus on the first step, which is getting an idea and then starting to flesh it out. Okay, obviously the book goes into a lot more detail. I'm just going to cover the basic stuff. So you can get over that hurdle of feeling like you cannot write a book, because you can write a book. You can write an isekai story or whatever story you want to write. You can do it. The only thing stopping you is knowing the process to get you there. A lot of people make the mistake of trying to sit down and start writing something and suddenly realize they don't really know what the hell they're writing about. Or they have a vague idea, but they start hitting roadblocks because they haven't built anything to work off of. They don't know what the story really is yet. The process that I use is I want to know the beginning and I want to know the end. Those are my priorities at the very beginning of the process, and that starts with an idea. Okay? So, the first thing we need is an idea, and that will give us probably, or especially with isekai, the idea of somebody from our world ending up in another world, that gives us our start. That gives us the beginning of the road that we're going to follow. Our roadmap, if you will. How do we get an idea if we don't even have an idea to start with? You need a genre at the very least. Okay? The two things you have to have are the willpower, and the desire to write a story. If you're watching this, you already have that. You just have to have the perseverance to stick to it. And you need an idea. But if you don't have an idea, you at least need a genre. As long as you have a genre, you can use ChatGPT or other AI to help you get your ideas and start fleshing them out. Okay? That's what the video is about, what this video is about. Okay? So how do we do it? What are the tools that we want to have ready to go? I have a WordPad doc, I have ChatGPT, and I have the website Fantasy Name Generators ready to go. I always have this ready because here's a little secret, there's no such thing as a perfect name. Okay, I have the Victorian name generator up here. This website has literally hundreds of different name generators for practically anything and everything you could possibly need a name for. Another mistake a lot of people make is spending tons and tons of time, wasting their time, trying to think of the perfect name. There's no such thing. Okay? A lot of the names in the Harry Potter stories are Victorian era. So, if J.K. Rowling had decided that Elsa Lane was going to be her main character's name, or Ernie Kinghead, or Douglas Mahan, or Elwood Marston, that is who we would be talking about. I honestly don't think it would have made a damn bit of difference to the success of the books if the character's name had been different. Okay? There's no such thing as a perfect name for anything. There is only one exception to this that I can think of, and that's superheroes because there's two things, that you want to make sure about superhero stuff. You don't want to infringe on trademarks that already exist, so you need to check that, and it needs to be something that's kind of snappy. Okay? Spider-Man, Captain America. It needs to have, a bit of a snap to it. So that a superhero name is something that might need some workshopping, but for the most part, names, you just need something. And random generators, like, you just need a character name. This is going to be our protagonist name. Right now, I'm going to find our protagonist name, and it's going to be Jacob Sutton. Our protagonist name is going to be Jacob Sutton. I'm going to put it over here in a file. Just that easily. Because you can look through this and just hit it as many times as you want. Look through, don't like them, do it again. You want female names. And this is just for American names. Let's say you want a Japanese name. You want a Japanese name, so we can go over here and we're going to have a side character that's going to be named this. I always westernize because I am American. This is what I am more used to. So Keiya Umasaka. Jacob Sutton, Keiya Umasaka. Who are these people? We don't know yet, and it doesn't matter because we're going to use ChatGPT to figure that out. Okay, what is the first prompt we want to put into ChatGPT? Sorry about that. Sometimes I have I sometimes pop the side of my mouth. I'm sorry when that happens. So, if all you have to start with is your genre, Isekai, this is the sort of prompt you would use. Give me some plot ideas for an Isekai novel. Now, at this point, it's going to give you something very generic. One of the nice things about modern AI is that they are being trained to try to interpret questions like this or tasks like this, the intent behind them, and understand the intent in the way a machine can, of course. But it's going to know, if I go ahead and hit enter right now, it's going to know that I don't want to just have the exact plots of existing isekai fiction. I want something that's mashups and things that there aren't a lot of yet, necessarily, things that it hasn't seen, or been trained on, rather. But we can simplify this and make it better, because AI works best when you give it the more information and restrictions, and to narrow what it needs to do, the better the output is going to be. So let's go ahead and look at places and locations. And I'm going to say that I'm going to look at outpost names. Splinter Cross Citadel, it's the first one, and I kind of like that as a name. And we're going to go ahead and go back over here where the protagonist, and we're going to go ahead and say Jacob Sutton finds himself at a place called Splinter Cross Citadel, an outpost on a wild frontier, because that's where my mind went. You will find that once you get into this, where you just start, you grab just those three things. I grabbed that name, the idea that it's an outpost of some kind, and this is where my mind went. Okay? You will find that this will happen. It's a tool, or a skill, rather. The AI is a tool. You have skills that you use to guide the AI to do what you want and get more ideas to work with. But you will find that as long as you have any little tidbit to grab onto, there is something in your imagination that will be able to work off of that. And that is the process that we're dealing with here. So at this point, we can do this, but we have two characters. So he meets another isekai, isekai person, a girl named Kea Umasaki. So this is going to give us plot ideas based on all of just these little tidbits that we already had. Okay, and then you wait for it to build out some ideas from based on your prompt, and depending on the way you ask the question or what you wanted it to do, it may give you more or less. I find that the more details you give, the less it's going to give you because um, it's going to try to focus on all the little details and then give you more developed ideas. Whereas if I had just asked for isekai plot ideas, it probably would have given anywhere from like 7 to 10, probably. Okay, so Frontier of Chaos premise. Jacob and Kaya wake up in Splintercross Citadel, an isolated fortress on the edge of a wild, monster-infested frontier. Citadel is nominally under the rule of a distant kingdom, but the garrison is stretched thin, and the surrounding lands are full of warring tribes, magical beasts, and rogue adventurers. Okay. A common element of isekai is unique skills, powers, or abilities that people who have been isekai'd, portaled, have. So he discovers he has a unique skill in the new world, something seemingly mundane in his old life, like logistics or engineering, becoming overpowered here. Kaya, meanwhile, seems naturally gifted at combat or magic. Together, they start helping fortify the Citadel. Okay. Citadel's commander is secretly in league with a warlord. Exploration, romantic tension, which is a natural, logical leap if you have a male and female protagonists. The hub for adventurers, mercenaries, and exiles. They're forced to join a failing guild to survive. If it's a hub, it wouldn't be failing. You will run into little incongruities like that with AI. It's inevitable. It's full of quirky, eccentric members, some overpowered, some useless, all memorable. I like that. Dangerous frontier event that's introducing lit RPG elements. Comedic subplot. Okay. Citadel's secret. It's not just a frontier outpost. It was built atop the ruins of an ancient magical city. They stumble upon a sealed section of the Citadel where magic pulses strangely. Unlocking it triggers a series of events that awaken long dormant creatures and powers. Okay. Jacob discovers that other isekai people are being trained as elite frontier agents, and Kaya has a mysterious past connected to one of these groups. Accidental hero arc. He didn't mean to become a hero. He literally got pulled into Splintercross Citadel by a summoning gone wrong, and he's underpowered compared to the seasoned warriors there. He's trying to return home or hide out. Kaya is more competent, pushes him to face challenges. Her motivations are mysterious. Perhaps she wants to find a way home, or maybe she has her own secret agenda. Gradual leveling up arc. Jacob discovers that his mundane earth knowledge, science, mechanics, psychology make him uniquely powerful in a world built on fantasy logic. And then it'll ask you if you want it to do something, and generally I ignore that unless it is actually something I want it to do already, or it's a good idea. Sometimes it just kind of will offer to do something based on what other people have asked you to do, and you didn't think of it, but other people did, so it's a good thing that you might want it to do too. So I kind of like some elements of different ones of these. Sometimes you'll get an idea from it that is basically it's copy paste and you're good to move on and start building that out. A lot of times though you'll need to pick and choose bits and pieces. So I kind of like this. They wake up in this citadel. It's an isolated fortress. and it's nominally under the rule of a distant kingdom, but it's stretched thin. So let's go ahead and take some bits of this. So we've got our first three things. We can go ahead and just leave those up there. And we got all that. Rumors of a civilization buried beneath the wildlands. Ragtag adventures, probably. We can have some romantic tension in here. There's nothing wrong with having a bit of romance. Lots of people like a little romance. But we can also go here and take this. I am fond of the classic adventuring guild thing. We'll go ahead and skip that part. We just want that it is a hub for adventurers, mercenaries, and exiles. Wacky characters. That's always fun. Some overpowered, some useless. They have to navigate guild politics while uncovering hints about why so many Isekai arrivals end up here. That's fine. Do we want lit RPG elements? I'm gonna say no. Let's go ahead and also take this one. And we're going to say that we're going to take this, but instead of triggering something, we're going to say that a sealed section of the Citadel where magic pulses strangely, we can keep that. They touch an artifact in the room which gives them magic powers. Unlike anything else anyone has. Anything else anyone... Yeah, that works. So now we have a premise. We have a built-out idea. And if you don't like any of the things that it gives you the first time, look through, see what appealed to you, if nothing did, figure out why it didn't appeal to you, okay? I'm looking, I should be looking right here at you, the person watching, I'm sorry. I kind of forgot that the camera was on me. But what you want to do is, like if it's giving you a bunch of lit RPG elements, game mechanics and stuff, and you don't want that, what you would do is you would come down here and you would do a new prompt and say, give me some more plot ideas, but without lit RPG elements. And it'll give you more, and it won't have those elements in it. And you can look through those and see if there's anything that appeals to you. And again, if you find that you're still nothing's speaking to you, figure out what it is that isn't working and try a new prompt asking it to leave out things that aren't appealing to you. And it's a brainstorming process. But once you have a few little bits and pieces you can build on, you take these bits and pieces, you add and subtract things, and then what you would do is you would take all the bits and pieces you like. You can get rid of your initial brainstorming thing, and then you would say, help me expand this premise. And it's going to go ahead and do that. And again, what you do is you look through, see what you like and keep it, get rid of anything you don't like, and you build out your premise. You build out your idea, you figure out what you need next, and before you know it, you're going to have a pretty well fleshed out starting point. Once you have your starting point, you figure out what your ending point is. What do you want, in this case, it would be Jacob and Kaya. Where are they going? What is the end goal for the story? Where do you want them to end up? Okay, you have that, your starting point, you flesh that out, then you decide where your story's going, and then the rest is filling out the steps along the way. And it's just a matter of you start at the one point and you build up over time. Continue building throughout the entire writing process. But once you have a pretty solid idea of where you're starting, your starting point, okay, over here, you can, and then you understand where your end is. Once you have those 2 points, it's just a matter of building up all the little elements that you need to get from point A to point Z. Okay? And that is your starting process. That is how you get started writing an isekai novel or story or script, even if you have no idea. Okay. You should have everything you need to get started now. Thank you very much for watching, and if you'd like a longer or a more in-depth look at this process, don't forget to check out that book in the description that goes the full 15 steps from this process all the way up to the editing. Okay? Thank you very much for watching one more time. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.